Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day and that you guys are enjoying this coin collecting hobby as much as I am. Today, we have a really good one brought to you again by Mr. E. Mr. E, not Mystery, but Mr. E submitted a beautiful Susan B. Anthony Clash Die error. We did a video on it before this one. I don't know when you guys are going to be watching this, but they're within a day apart of each other, but the coin that he has graded really high. He just needed to get the error attribution printed on the label. So he is actually currently at the Central States Numismatic Show in Schaumburg, Illinois, to do just that at the big sale there, or show, or auction. So PCGS was on hand, and he was going to do a walk-up submission to get that fixed. So, aside from that, he has more coins. We're actually going to take a look at his first ever graded submission through PCGS. He had sent out 3 Morgan dollars, okay? And here's kind of like the bonus with all this. One of the coins, which is an 1883 Carson City Morgan dollar, was purchased through a large, well-known precious metals dealer on the net. It was advertised as brilliant uncirculated. So he decided, hey, let's go ahead and send this thing out, see what it comes back as. And you're not going to want to miss the results. All right. It's going to stun you, actually. It stunned me when I heard about it. So we have that coin along with 2 other Morgan dollars he had submitted. Now, Mr. E didn't have any real expectations. He wanted to just try his hand at grading. All in all, he probably ended up investing around $100 to $120 by the time you factor in fees and shipping and all that stuff for sending these 3 coins out. So yeah, he did invest a little bit of money, and the whole question about did he win or did he get wrecked, it's kind of maybe a blown over statement on my part. All right. We're not talking about a $5,000 to $10,000 coin. We're talking about a few semi-lower value coins. But he wanted to do this just so he could test his hand at his own personal grading progression. He's been learning a lot from folks online about the grading process, and he felt like, it's probably a good time to send out a few test pieces to see how they come back as. What we do know, Mr. E is invested in assembling a very nice collection that he can pass down to family later on when that time comes. So he's not into just buying anything, like low value stuff. He has value in mind, right? And then he ultimately wants pieces that he could cobble together through his life that will be easy to sell, once it goes into the hands of his grandkids. So this is certainly a good way of kind of kickstarting that, understanding the grading process on some of the more earlier type pieces, some of the most popular pieces, might I add, like Morgan dollars and all that. He's picking the right coins to get together. So let's go ahead and check out some of these coins, these selections that Mr. E had sent over. Starting out with the first coin here, we have a 1921S Morgan silver dollar. All right, so this is the first one that he had sent over. And right off the bat, I could tell that this coin has a good deal of circulation wear, all right, and not a whole lot of mint luster remaining. Now, we have to keep in mind that 1921 was the final date of the Morgan silver dollar. So a lot of the engraving and the overall design detail has a little bit more detail in it, all right, compared to any of the earlier dated Morgan dollars. I think the U.S. Mint enhanced the overall engraving in the working dies in this particular case to manufacture these 1921 dated coins, and that goes for P, D, and S. This one is a San Francisco. I would say that, comparing to the other two, this is probably the more tougher date out of the 3, but that's really not saying a lot because they're all relatively easy to find in just about all grades. Where these things kind of get kind of tough is grades above mid-state 63. You know, I know that even the Philadelphia, if you're able to get like a 64, 65, the prices jump up pretty considerably. So it's not an easy grade to achieve because a lot of these were just socked up in canvas bags for a long time. So all the coins kind of clanged and banged against each other, creating a lot of contact marks. But on this one here, you can just notice kind of like the flat gray surfaces of the coin. You can see a little bit of dark areas in the fields, you know, and then some of the lighter white areas around the letters, which denotes either some sort of circulation wear or the coin's been cleaned. And especially on a coin like this where you don't see a lot of like grease or gunk or dirt on it, you know, it's always good to keep that in the back of your mind. Do you have a coin here that's been cleaned, or is it one that is honest, true blue, you know, regular circulated coin? So you can tell that even on the breast feathers of the eagle, it's pretty well worn down. So this is, you know, at best, a low end, about uncirculated. I would say probably more along the lines of a high-end XF to low-end AU. This one ended up graded as an XF40. Surprisingly, I felt like it probably could have stretched up to a 45 at the very minimum. But that's where we stand on this one. All right. The good news is it's straight graded, right? It's still going to be a coin that has some sort of secondary market numismatic value, and that's important. This is something right here that probably you don't need to sell for, you know, what a scrappy silver dollar would normally command, which is about $35. Okay, you could probably end up getting about $45 to $50 off this coin. I did pull up PCGS's price guide. Let's see, and that's this one here, 1921S. If we scroll all the way over to where like XF40 to AU55 would be, XF40 they have at $48. The price even went up a few bucks, but you could see that it had jumped up, you know, a little bit above and beyond what you could pick up the coin for, like say in just a regular bargain bin of those things. So again, all is not lost. Sure, probably lost a few dollars with the submission fee and just, you know, buying the coin raw. Probably lost about 10, 15 bucks. But at the very least, you have a nice market acceptable grade. So there you go. That's the first one there. The next coin that we have here for you is not the 1921. It's this one, 1899. So this one right here ended up graded as an XF45. All right, it looks very similar to the 1921S. So in this particular case, you have the worn down breast feathers without getting too close to the actual coin in question. This one has about the same similar level of circulation wear, all right? And you don't see a whole lot of luster. I can see maybe a little bit here behind Liberty's head, same as the 21S. And it's a New Orleans, but, you know, it is still a common date for this particular piece. XF45s, you know, again, it's a grade point higher compared to the previous coin. But still, you're going to be looking around that same kind of like around $50 level. As you can tell from XF40 to AU55, there's not a whole lot of kind of like spread right there. So again, you're looking at about a $50 bill. Did he need to grade it? Probably not, seeing as how it doesn't really enhance the value too terribly much in this particular instance, but it's worth noting. All right, so the next coin that we have here, there's the 1883 Carson City. So this was the coin that was purchased on APMEX's website. They were actually selling some of these and advertising them as brilliant uncirculated, or BU, or, you know, just a generic term for that particular grade. And when you look at the coin, there are a few things that stand out to me. All right. If you look at the reverse in the fields area, you'll notice that there is some amount of luster on here. And a lot of it is going to be relegated to the protected areas of the design. So all of the letters, you can see that light white field area, which denotes some sort of luster. Okay, that's the good news. And then you see these little pockets of like dark gray or black in between the wing and the wreath here, and then also on the front of the coin, Morgan's face or Liberty's face, and then the fields here on the left side of the coin. Okay, that's kind of problematic to me as a coin. These particular issues through like the GSA, the government hoards, are all generally pretty well frosty as mid-state coins. So to find one with this kind of like contrasting, like nice frosty white to some dark, deep areas on the coin is a little concerning. All right, and then rightfully so. The coin ended up graded as PCGS genuine cleaned. So again, not the result that Mr. E was looking for on this particular coin. However, the good news is it's still UNC. It's uncirculated details, okay, which means quite a bit to the actual value of the coins, and you're going to see here momentarily. So Mr. E purchased this for $360 or somewhere thereabouts. So it's like $360 plus tax, maybe, if I had to guess. But you know, it's not too far off from the value of a Mid-State 63 coin that is straight graded through for the same date. All right, so yeah, he probably could have very easily bought one that was already graded, or maybe it's in the original GSA holder and then it was graded by like NGC. That could have been a much more equitable play here. But believe it or not, he really didn't take it into the shorts too badly on this coin. Yeah, sure, it's kind of bittersweet because, you know, when you have this great big PM dealer like APMEX, you know, and they say and advertise that something is a certain way, you know, you kind of want to believe them because they're like one of the biggest on the planet Earth as far as precious metals and, you know, what they have a core competency in. It's just with this coin, it just didn't work out, okay, the way that he wanted to. So when we take a look at the PCGS price guide values, again, when you look here around, you know, between AU and this Mid-State 63, it's kind of split right down the middle. You're going to be about 3 1/4 here for a coin that grades somewhere around Mid-State 61. Usually with details clean coins, you have to net grade it. So it may not be Mid-State pricing at all. It might end up being like about uncirculated pricing. In this particular case for the 83cc, you know, you're going to be between like this $270 to $300 range. Okay, so he did lose some money here in this one. But it also gives him some perspective. It gives him like a sample. You know, it's always good to have a sample of a coin that is cleaned. So that way he can compare everything else with it. You know, that'll be his master sample piece. And it's a coin that has still a tremendous amount of value. All right. So even though he didn't get the grade that he wanted, let's go ahead and examine a few of the most recent sales activities of this particular date in coin with varying different types of grades. Here's your Mid-State 63 by NGC, still in the NGC or the GSA holder, $358. You have this really monstrous one here with toning, Mid-State 67 for $4,700. But there you go. How about this one? Same exact grade. Genuine UNC details cleaned. 1883cc. This one sold April 23rd for $320. So as you can see, he didn't get wiped too far off the map. But, you know, this could have been a lot worse if, say, this was in 1889 Carson City, where in mid-state grades, that's a coin that's worth many thousands of dollars. But if you bought one, say, off of some company online, they advertise it as brilliant uncirculated, they end up asking $5,000, and you're like, great, you know, that's a coin I've always wanted for my collection. You get the coin, you receive it in hand, it looks pretty decent, and ultimately you want to get the thing graded because it's a key date in the series of Morgans. So you end up sending that thing off to PCGS or NGC. It comes back, details cleaned, UNC, which it's not the end of the world, but guess what? That price difference between the $5,000 of what an uncirculated true blue copy of that coin is, now all of a sudden is worth about $2,500. I actually did the research on it, and it cuts it virtually in half if you end up getting an UNC details cleaned grade on that particular date. So it could have been a lot worse. He could have had an 1889 CC. At that point, I would have said, screw that. I'm going to call up that dealer that I bought it from and say, hey, you screwed me really bad here. You said it was this, and it wasn't. I would probably make a little bit of a big stink, even though at that particular juncture, there's probably not a whole lot that you can do. But you can see the difference here. Not a whole lot of difference between this uncirculated details and a straight graded mint state 62. $320-ish, which isn't a whole lot of difference here, but you can see you'd rather get the straight graded coin because it's going to have an easier liquidity in the future rather than one that has someone else's problems on it. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Thank you again to E for submitting these coins, and I appreciate the conversation that you and I had talking about coins and life and all that. It's always great to talk with folks through my consultations. I'll have consultations in May. There's just going to be super limited. So if you're able to snag a spot in my calendar and you're lucky to do that, then, you know, that's good. You know, that means we'll have a chat. But, you know, that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of a lesson in the grading arena of these particular coins. And, you know, I would love to hear what you guys think about this video. That's going to go ahead and do it. Thank you guys again for all of your views and support. And I shall see you next time with more coin videos.